Okay.
Yeah, phone silent mic.
अर्को पनि साइलेन्टमा राखिदिन्छु.
Yeah.
All right, ready? Okay. Welcome, everyone. Today is my first episode with PuffCast, and I'm your host, Azim Jivani. PuffCast is all about moving away from the stigma of cannabis and towards responsibility and understanding. Today, we're starting strong. I'm joined today by Mr. Pratik Karki. He is the founder of the Hemp Association of Nepal. Mr. Karki, please introduce yourself.
Thank you. So I'm Pratik Karki. I'm an entrepreneur and working in the hemp industry for over a decade now.
Okay, very good. Hemp industry for a decade now, Mr. Karki, we have. So we'll start with the questions. We want to get to know what's going on in Nepal of the hemp industry. So let's start. What made you focus on hemp specifically in Nepal?
I was looking for sustainable solutions. I was always in tune with nature, and I wanted to create solutions for the basic needs, that is food and shelter and clothing. And then somehow I came across this plant. One of my friends introduced me to it, and then I realized that there is nothing that cannot be done from this plant, and over thousands of products can be made from this plant. So I saw that we can make homes, everything around us can be made from this plant, and even our clothing can be made from this plant. So this plant was my answer. It was the solution, ultimate solution that I could see, which I could use in order to solve some of the problems and create a sustainable and holistic world.
Very good. Okay. Can you give us a few more examples? You said homes, you said clothing. Anything else that hemp can make?
Yeah, so bioplastics. So this is what hemp can do, and there is also cannabis. So cannabis content of THC is a little more, so it can also be used for medical reasons. So there are different kind of drugs. So drugs as in medicine, because people regard cannabis as drug. But like any other drug that is found in the pharmaceutical shop, this is also a very important drug. According to Ayurveda, there are 4 most important plants, and hemp and cannabis is one of them. So besides that, it can also be used in order to sequester carbon from the atmosphere, in order to make the soil more fertile. It can be used for regenerative agriculture, because it remediates, it purifies the nature, and it is found that it is able to sequester carbon 20 times more than just other plant. So yes, there are definitely other products as well. So there is also rebars, like construction materials and other things that are also made out of it. So we are in this studio. In between these walls, there must be this wool material. So it can also be used in order to insulate, and also in order to create a soundproof studio. So we can also make those kind of materials from hemp.
Wow, very good. And when you said sequester carbon from the atmosphere, what do you mean by that?
So right now there is a market of carbon credits. So around the world, around 198 countries, they have basically signed for Article 6 according to the Paris Agreement that they are going to help, they are going to commit, they are going to deliver in order to become net zero, in order to reduce their carbon footprint because we have only one earth and we have to take that step. So while taking that step, there are different companies with different kind of solutions. So hemp is also a proven solution that if we plant hemp, then it can help the environment, it can help the atmosphere, and for doing that companies would pay you because the hemp plant can generate carbon credits.
What do you mean by generate carbon credits?
So let's suppose that there is barren land, and let's suppose there is an industry where they are growing a lot of cotton. Now if you can create a product that is less of cotton and more of hemp, and if you can replace a vast amount of cotton production that depletes the soil, that takes a lot of pesticides, insecticides, and that also consumes a lot of water. So hemp does far more than that. Far more than that means like it can create the products, but it has far less negative advantage, negative impact than any of the cotton that we use. There is definitely the idea of organic cotton, but mostly in the market they are using this normal cotton. So that has a lot of negative impact on the nature. So once hemp can show that it can basically help this supply chain, it can help the environment, then in order to replace that, there would be company that would be paying you money because that is the value, because it protects our air, it protects our water, it protects our atmosphere, and this is the asset for humanity. We cannot eat cotton, we cannot eat cotton clothes, but we have to eat food, and food comes out of soil. And today the measures that are applied, it is all shortcut. People have been applying ways that can get profit at the shortest, but they don't understand that in the long term they are losing far more than that. So hemp helps us not to lose but to win.
Okay. So basically you're saying that hemp is more volatile than cotton. You can use it for more things like food, and it takes less water to grow, and it causes less strain on the environment, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool, thank you. And all right, let's move on. Next question. Was there a moment you realized hemp could be a serious economic opportunity, and when was that?
When we started lobbying and when we started coming in front in order to stand for this industry, that was a golden time. The whole world was pumping this story of hemp. It was the buzzword, it was the brand, there was a boom. So even in America we could see policies were changing from 2018. In Canada we could see Uruguay was one of the first country that basically legalized hemp. They were building structures around it. So it was the golden time, and it was a race. Israel basically kind of capitalized on it. It was able to deliver, it was able to build the policy, it was able to build the industry that was required in order to ride the wave. So now if we see then that there is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Right now, hemp and cannabis, it is more than $70 billion of industry. And the compound annual growth rate is also over 15%. Like there are different aspects of the industry. So in some it is less, some it is more. But if you look at the medical cannabis industry, then the demand is growing. People are seeing the benefit. Science is talking now. There are publications, there are articles on it that basically it is not just a story that someone smoking pot has just, said because that guy wants to smoke more pot. It is a proven scientific story now, and now the world is hearing it and the world is seeing its benefit. So yes, the economic aspect, because in order for sustainability right now, all the countries in the world, their goal is how they build, their economic growth, how they develop themselves. So in that now we can see an example what happened in Thailand. They built $1 billion industry. Now if we look in Nepal, one of the major industries are IT industry, and this time we were able to export $1 billion of IT services. And for Nepal, that has scaled. Before it was 400 million, but that has scaled, but that is still a very small amount. But that amount of industry Thailand has already capitalized and already built. But now definitely there are some policy changes there with the new government. So yes, the waves are sometimes, the wind is strong, the waves are strong, so we have to learn how to ride the wave.
Okay, perfect. And just to go a little deeper, when specifically in Nepal did you find the economic opportunity as a high potential market for hemp?
So the stigma was out there in the world before 2018. The black market was always there, and that was not our concern. However, once America, that was the reason when Nixon was there, they kind of criminalized cannabis in Nepal. Before 1970s, in 1960s, Nepal was Nepal was part of the hippie trail. There were shops in Freak Street here in Nepal where we could legally buy cannabis and hash. So Nepal was always a leader, but it became a victim with the narrative that was created as part of the New World Order. Tried to deem the consciousness of the globe, because the hippie era was not just druggies coming and smoking. It was a time of the evolution of consciousness, and many leaders of the world, they share their stories that they came to Nepal, they had this experience, they opened their mind, and they went. So the opportunity was there, but unfortunately the world did not want Nepal to have that opportunity and that opportunity to grow, because if that would be allowed, then they could not control on a lot of aspects, because this plant can do miracles. So later, once America understood, once Canada understood, and there was a time of buzz in around 2018 or so. During that time was the most vital time for countries to come forward and capitalize on that opportunity. So we tried, then we lobbied, and a lot of work happened there, and it was moving. But what happened was the older government, the leader of that government from one of the party had this stigma in the mind that, oh, this is cannabis, this is hemp, everyone are going to become druggies now, and then we are not going to let this happen. So they kind of neglected the science behind it. They did not have an educated mind, I suppose. They did not have an open mind in order to see what was happening around the world. They were blinded by their own stigma.
Yeah, so you started in 2018 for the push for some sort of access, regulation, legalization, something for cannabis in Nepal, right? And the old government, they were closed-minded, they were not allowing any sort of regulations to happen. But now there's hope, right? Can you please talk about that?
Yeah, there is definitely hope. We had previously talked with the government that is here right now. Rabi Lamichhane, the party president of Rasopa, the leading party right now in the government, with landslide vote. So he was the home minister during that time, and he was pro hemp and pro cannabis. We went to him, and we basically talked our talks, and we gave them the ground why Nepal should do it and what Nepal is missing out. And they were keen. We even went to their office. We showcased our products. We showcased glass made out of hemp. We showcased leather made out of hemp. We showcased yarns made out of hemp, and we also showcased construction materials made out of hemp. So they were stunned, they were thrilled, and they were keen. So now basically in the new government there is Rabi Lamichhane and there is Barren. So Rabi Lamichhane was positive, but right now he has less say in the government because Barren is ruling right now, and we yet don't know what his thought process is. But we are definitely hopeful that he is a young guy, he has been a rapper, and he has the capacity to understand basic science. So we are hopeful.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I've also heard about the new Prime Minister, Barren, and I've heard a lot good about him. He was a rapper, he was in engineering before, and now he won a landslide vote, and he's the youngest Prime Minister, right?
Yeah, in the world right now, I reckon.
Yeah.
37 years old, 36.
Yeah, so there's hope, the young people. All right, so Nepal grows cannabis naturally. What makes a unique position internationally for hemp?
Nepal has the story, the Himalayan story. Nepal also has, Nepal is the place of origin. Like in the States or any other places, we don't need to plant hemp here. I have been growing vegetables in my kitchen garden in the roof, and automatically hemp started to grow there. I have not planted a seed there, but there are two plants right now of hemp that I can see. So how did this come out is because the nature gave it to us. Hemp is one of the native to us So if we go around the country, we can see it is naturally growing. In the forest, it is naturally growing. So it is given by the nature to us, and the genetics is also quite nice. We find indica, sativa, and rudralis as well. So a lot of land races we find rather than hybrid seeds. So Nepal has its own genetics, Nepal has its own story. We are in between two of the biggest countries, economies, China and India. And Nepal is also one of the tourism capital of the world. This is the land of Mount Everest. This is the birthplace of Gautam Buddha. In Hinduism, it has the temple that is called the crown chakra of the world, because ancient temples in ancient times, they were spread all around the world. And we have got Pashupatinath. So Pashupatinath is the only ancient temple where the lingam has head. So that's why it is called the crown chakra of the world. So people come during the time of Shivaratri. All Hindu pilgrims, they come from all around the world in order to experience Shivaratri. So Nepal has the potential to be one of the hemp and cannabis capital if it can regulate, and if it can create the systems of transparency where it can track everything down, because the black market is still there and it is flourishing. So we hear all sort of news and everything for cannabis. So definitely in Nepal, because so much land is barren right now, and if we can grow hemp, then it cannot compete with big economies like that of China. It does not have that kind of land or anything, but it has its own niche. So if it can understand what that niche is, and if it can build on that, if it can capitalize on that, even if Nepal catches around 0.5% of the industry, then it is going to have an industry of $500 million. And that is equivalent to all this IT industry that was there few years back. So if Nepal can understand that, then Nepal also has an opportunity to create many jobs, and yes, it can help Nepal flourish. And 46% of the total land in Nepal is forest, and still we have got barren land. And farmers these days, they want easy solutions. So if Nepal can allow farmers to grow hemp, then with less effort they can make more. And we don't need to even worry about the market, because India is right there. And with the global crisis currently happening with Iran and American war, where the supply chain is disrupted, linen that is coming out of Europe, and linen is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So if we can understand and if we can build systems around it, then we have got tremendous opportunity.
Great, yeah. So, since Nepal is an originator of cannabis, and since it has all these land-raised different hybrids, sativas, indicas, I'm sure, and all this barren land, I'm sure there's a high potential for economic opportunity once regulations are set in place.
Definitely.
Perfect. And are we sitting on an untapped competitive advantage right now? Does Nepal have a competitive advantage for its land and its quality for around the world cannabis?
Yes, definitely. Because much of the Nepal's land is pristine. The hills are there, and in order to farm in the hills are quite challenging. Most of the world, most of the parts of the world, if we will see, where they are farming, because of excessive use of insecticides and pesticides, the land has degraded. There is also a lot of heavy metals. So, in this pure land, in order to keep it more pure, Nepal has that competitive advantage in order to build that premium product. Some Nepalese products are regarded to be one of the best in Amsterdam market. I don't know how it reaches there, but basically I have not been there, but I have heard my friends when they are there, they basically get these products from Nepal. And when we compare the products that are made in closed places, in monoculture farms, basically the quality of the product is mostly chemicalized. So when it is more chemicalized, because hemp is a natural crop, and if it is not naturally processed, and if it is corrupted, then maybe you can get a certain kind of effect that can be pleasing, but that might not be best for you. So that's why Nepal has, now Israel is one of the places that exports medical cannabis products. They have got the technology, they have got the system, they have got the structure, but they don't have the nature that Nepal has. So that would be our competitive advantage. And where we sit geopolitically, geographically, if Nepal allows this to happen, because right now Nepal has the brand. Right now people around the world, they are respecting Nepalese because today Nepalese stand for integrity. We have got a government that are cracking down any sort of corrupted activities. So this is what the world is looking for. This is the utopia we have always been dreaming. And definitely it is not going to be perfect. Even in order to run a house, it's challenging. This is a country that we have to run, but this country can lead the world with the message of peace, and it can be the light that this world can see in terms of hope. The world can come here, they can experience openness, and definitely besides that, economically we have got the opportunity in order to capitalize. If we are just able to catch one of the market that are around us, either China or either India, and this is happening right now. So we have got good business in India, we have got good business in China, and the quality of our product is selling there. So this is not just a dream, this is actually happening right now.
Wow, that's amazing. It sounds like Nepal has great quality cannabis products such as hemp. Chinese people like it, Indian population likes it, and also, what do you think about the tourism potential for cannabis in Nepal?
No, definitely. If we look at Thailand, they built $1 billion economy, and just before some time, recreational cannabis was legal there, and as a result, they were able to create $1 billion economy. And here Nepal also has that opportunity. Currently, the tourism industry is struggling. Only 1 million tourists flock into Nepal in a year. Because what tourists they are looking for is they are looking for that openness, they are looking for that freedom, and at this time, if we don't understand that, and if we are not able to give that, and if we are in our own stereotypes, if we are in our own stigma, then we are going to create a prison for ourselves, and we are going to be the parrots that are going to shout our own story that no one would be hearing. It would not resonate with the world. But if we can understand what the world needs, and if we can sing that song, then the world is going to come and look, oh, this parrot, this is the golden parrot that everyone talked about. So they are definitely going to come, and the tourist industry can boom.
Wow, yeah, I also think so. Nepal seems like it has a great cannabis tourism opportunity given if regulations are put in place. And so let me ask you about the supply chain of cannabis. You've worked on building the hemp value chain. What does that actually involve from farm to finished product? How does it go?
So it is a very challenging journey. We took over 5 years just to build that value chain. Nepal has 77 districts. Out of those 77 districts, 43 are very feasible to grow hemp. For cannabis, even other districts are also good, but we are mostly focused on hemp. So we built different clusters, we built different systems in all these districts, and we source the materials from them, and then we convert it into different products. In Nepal, we built the first yarn made out of hemp. So we partnered with some of the leading industries here. Thankfully, they also understood, they also supported us. And now we have a product that all these exporters can have, that they can offer to this world. So basically the whole supply chain is as such. Right now we are building some industries. So in this industry, what we do is, before some of the products, in order to build some of the products, we did not have that kind of system, we did not have that kind of structure, so we had to send it to India. But right now we are building different systems, different industries, where everything is going to happen inside the country itself. However, some products, in order to build that kind of systems, here it is not feasible, because we also have a challenge. Right now we are building on an industry that is like that of Thailand in a way. So some part of it is gray, some part of it is not gray. So we are, after we build this industry here, it is going to solve a lot of problems in the value chain, and it is going to optimize the opportunity.
Okay, and you said you're sending products to India. What do you not have in Nepal that you need to send the products to India for?
So we built the first 100% hemp yarn out of Nepalese fiber in India. When we made the first 100% hemp yarn in India, no one had made it before. So still we don't have any competitors. So in order to make this product, it is not possible. We don't have those kind of industries here. Only China has been able to make that kind of a product. And right now there is Ukraine that has come up and made that product. So if we see even in China, there is only one company, that is Kingdom. And that is a big company. And Ukraine is catching up, and we were already ahead of the game. And if we see, there are only a few companies in the world that are able to do that. But that we are not able to do in Nepal. And the market has not developed like that, so that we build that industry here. But definitely that is a target, that is a milestone that we would want to reach in the future, because what is important for us is also the market. There are different products, like there is hempcrete brick, there is textiles, yarns, there is soundproof construction, non-woven materials, there is bioplastic, there is leather. So we are a biotech company. We researched, and we loved researching. We just wanted to see what this plant can do. And now what we realize is this plant can even we can build a rocket out of it. So, however, now the rocket has to be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
If we are to make hemp rockets out of Nepal, it has to be competitive to the other rockets that would be out there in the world. Then only we can survive in this market. So right now, after this war and the global changes, people's spending capacity has been depleting, and that's why they need better alternatives. They need better solutions that can fit into their ethical ground. Because why would they buy hemp products? It is because they are standing on an ethical ground, because they want to support the nature, they want to feel good about themselves, that they are not destroying the nature. Because with every choice of ours, there is a footprint. So the textile industries releases around 250,000 tons of microplastics every day in the ocean every day. So because of that, the in the ocean, what the reef, what is the thing that generates oxygen there?
The plants inside the
Plants, and there is a certain particular, I just forgot the, what was that?
the green algae.
Algae, but there is like some kind of, so
hemp would make that better as well.
yeah,
somehow.
hemp would definitely help the ecosystem and the biodiversity.
So less pollution in the environment, no dumping of microplastics, no pollution. It'll be regenerative. Whatever's hemp product is dumped is going to regenerate the environment, right?
Yeah, because right now what we have found in researches, in especially the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the bird kingdom. So basically these birds, when they die, if you look inside their stomach, there is plastic there. So what we are doing to all these fishes, just let's imagine plastic in our stomach. How do we feel? So it is the same for them, and we have no right to do that.
And hemp can replace plastics, right?
Yeah, some part of it can definitely replace.
Okay. Wow. Perfect.
Not all of it, but some part of it.
Okay. Majority maybe at least, right?
Like major, we can make water bottles out of hemp.
So significant impact.
Significant impact.
Got it. Perfect. On plastics. So that sounds like a great idea. All right. So now, where is Nepal currently strongest and weakest in that cannabis value chain?
It's weakest in the policy. because the way Nepal should have acted, it has not been able to act. It is weak in the infrastructure, because if the policy is not there, then the investment is not going to come there. So the strength is the opportunity that is there, geographically where it is, and the amount of awareness that has been there in the community. Now I think the community is able to understand. So basically now we have that opportunity, and there is a lot of companies around the world that want to come to Nepal. So Nepal can capitalize on that. It has the strength, its genetics are the strength, and the farmers also basically they are able to build a product that costs less.
Okay. So how does the current policy, hold back progress?
So there is mixed policy. The government has said that okay, we can work with hemp, but it has not clearly instated that. So there are different villages, there are different communities, there are different provinces that are pro policy, that have there is Gandaki province, so they drafted the policy and they are ready. They have built a very good policy in order to benefit the farmers as well. So similarly like that, some regions, they have also released news that now they are going to allow regulated hemp and cannabis growing. So that is happening out there, but from the federal government, how proactively they should have delivered, they have not been able to deliver. Even if they follow what is happening out there in the developed countries, like in America, also there is a confusion. In the federal law, cannabis is regarded in Schedule 1, but in over 23 states, 23 to 24 states, they basically took it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. So in some parts of the country, some states, they are allowing recreational use. Some states, they are allowing medical use. But from a central level, now I think with the legalization of psychedelics and medicalization of psychedelics that was signed in the recent bill, so basically there is definitely a possibility, because we follow. Even in India, there is a lot of confusion, there is no clarity. So in this, there is a huge opportunity that is still there for Nepal. If Nepal can step up, and right now Nepal has the leverage to do it, because with the new government, we are not bound by any control. We are sovereign to act what is best for us. And if the government can understand that and deliver, then it has got a huge opportunity.
Okay, great. Yeah, so sounds like Nepal is moving in the right direction, is getting aware of the potential it has, and it has great geography in terms of being between India and China, where business opportunities are endless. So let me ask you, you've worked on hemp-based products like rolling papers, textiles, etc. What products have the highest international demand?
So for now, textiles, Hempcrete also has very high demand, but we are currently working the pricing strategy because right now the cost is not as competitive as it should be, but it definitely has that potential once the logistics is worked out. Currently, because Nepal has to move hemp from hills to hills, and the major pain is because of the logistics, but definitely for textiles that pain is not a problem because the farmers they have to get the benefit, they have to get a fair price. That is very important. So for us as business people, what we see is we are building a ecosystem that can work. So in this ecosystem, the farmers are there, the people in the middle, they are there, so they have to be happy. If they are happy, then we are going to get the materials at a fair price, and later on we can convert it into a fair price product. And right now Nepal has a tremendous opportunity because in India there are competitions, and all of them, they were importing products out of raw materials out of Europe or somewhere outside, and because of the war it can benefit us because the cost is going to rise radically high, and in Nepal still that cost can be controlled, and if we can monetize on that, then it can scale up quite fast. So right now we see the textiles as the lowest hanging fruit, and then the construction materials.
Okay. Construction materials like hempcrete, right?
Hempcrete and also non-woven materials. So that can be used as insulators in between the walls. So this also has got a very good market.
Can you give a few examples of the textiles?
So textiles, as in like this shirt, can be made out of hemp. This T-shirt that you are wearing, anything that we are wearing, it can be made out of hemp. Even this upholstery for the for this sofa can be made out of hemp. So everything that is related with garments, with textiles, with yarns, it can be made out of hemp. And it is good for our body as well.
So these are the things already in production and that are already have a high international demand from Nepal.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Are we talking niche industry for cannabis in Nepal or a national level transformation?
So both. Some so medical cannabis can be a niche. Recreational cannabis, if Nepal can understand, because Nepal has right now industries such as the casino industry. So the casino industry is not allowed for Nepalese to go in, but anyone from outside, basically they can come and they can play. So if Nepal also replicates similar kind of model, then it can also have a niche industry that it can capitalize, is its tourism can boom. So besides that, medical cannabis. So right now one of the pain point in one of the weakness for Nepal is it does not have that kind of infrastructure, that kind of labs. But if Nepal's policy allows, then everything can be built because the opportunity will be there. Right now, investors and companies around the world, they are looking for a ground. They are looking for a neutral ground. So Nepal can be that neutral ground and build that niche. So besides that, if we are to build construction level materials, textile level materials, then it can be at a national level transformation.
Wow. So it sounds to me like cannabis can be not only a niche, but also transform Nepal nationally.
Yeah, and even with carbon credit, if people just decide to grow hemp around them and they can remediate the soil, then they can also get those benefits. It can be a national level strategy.
Yeah, not only for the people, but also for the environment. Like replenish the soil, give jobs, bring in money, investors, investment, industries, many different industries. So the potential is huge, it sounds like.
Definitely.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So, depending on the policy, what are the biggest regulatory barriers holding hemp industry back right now?
It is the interest of the central government, interest of the political party that is there. So I feel like this new political party, they have to have a think tank where they bring in people that can bring in opportunities for the country. So until and unless they do that, then the country cannot work on the opportunity that is there. So this is where Hemp Association comes in. Hemp Association makes the government aware that, hey, there is this opportunity that is there. But once we make them aware, it is up to them to act, and they have to act proactively. So until and unless they take that step, and if they are not bold enough to do that, then nothing is going to happen. So their priorities might be different right now. But their working structure has to be as such that different industries have different priority, so they need to work in a way that the ball can, continue to roll.
So it sounds like there's massive potential, but limited opportunity due to the policy. And there's no international investment, foreign investment, because of there's no actual value chain. There's no processing. There's no development of the cannabis industry in Nepal yet because of the policies that are not put into place, the regulations that are not put into place yet.
Yeah. We are willing to put in the money, whatever the country requires, to build that value chain, to build that infrastructure. We have got people around the world who are willing to come to Nepal, to support Nepal, to empower Nepal, but we need the green signal from the government.
Yeah, we need the green light. Come on.
Come on.
Give it
Wake
to
up.
us. What are you thinking? What's going on?
Legalize it.
Yeah, something. Give us access.
Access.
Yeah.
Open your mind.
Yeah, regulation, decriminalization, call it whatever you want. Let it happen, man.
We are waiting.
Yeah. All right. So, what would a smart, balanced policy framework actually look like in Nepal?
So we have to have policies that might not be best for us, but we also need policies that needs to be able to protect us. Like the nature of the business is as such, it is capitalistic. So we need to have capitalistic models and we need to have socialistic models as well. If we are going to have all socialistic, then we can basically try with that. But we have to see how open the market is to come on that. So on a farming level, I think the farmers, they need to be benefited. No one should be able to exploit them to an extent where only a certain companies grow and the people don't grow with it. However, if they are able to pay taxes to the government, then even that should be understood. So, because we need that capitalistic investment as well. And if Nepal can be open, and if Nepal can have that kind of policy, where basically companies from outside, they should not be allowed to come and buy all the land of Nepal, and they would be willing to invest the money in the land, because the land outside is going to be quite cheap. But in the long run, it would not help Nepal. It would not help the people. So however monochrome farms, and if they want to have tunnels, and if they want to have like industries where they grow everything inside and they want to export to the world, then Nepal should give them the tax incentives. They should give them like build economic zones where they get that benefit, because they would still bring that money in the country.
Okay, so for instance, you suggest a good policy would be allowing foreign direct investment and building jobs, building infrastructure here with that money, and also paying taxes to the Nepalese government to allow for the development of Nepal.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so that's one way of a good policy. So now, in terms of a missed opportunity, do you think Nepal has already lost time compared to other countries?
Yeah, definitely it has lost a lot of time, but still we have time. But this time is not going to be ours. The clock is ticking and the river is flowing, and the boat, the ship that was there, the golden ship, has gone. Now the silver one is there, and we still have a chance, and we can turn that into gold. We can be the alchemist, but we still have to catch that ship. Otherwise, later we are just going to have a broken boat, and we can sit and cry along with it, and we can, like just think that, oh, we wanted to go there and we wanted to go, we are here, but now what can we do? We missed that boat.
Yeah. So who is moving faster than us and why?
Canada has moved faster. India has moved faster. China is fast. Uruguay is fast. Israel is fast. So all these countries are quite fast.
How are they faster than Nepal?
They have got the policies. They have got the industry. So North America, it has 70% of the market cap right now. And however, we can learn from the mistakes of others. So some part what we saw is the regulation was too tight, and some part what we see in the world is that there was no regulation. So if we learn from that, and if we can create a model that balances both of this, then we have the opportunity.
Yeah. So in terms of international competition, can Nepal realistically compete with countries like China or the US in hemp production?
No, not compete to that extent, but it can have a pie. The cake is too big, and even if they want to have all of it, even if we get like 0.5% of the pie, we have got $500 million of industry here. And that is huge. That would really benefit the country. We are a small country, and these kind of economic gains matters a lot to us.
Absolutely. Or should Nepal focus on niche and premium identity instead?
No, definitely. The niche and premium identity is also important. So like I said before, we have to focus on building the niche industry as well. However, there should also be a national level of transformation. So there are some kind of products Nepal should focus that is inherited from Nepal, the genetics that is from Nepal, that Nepal should identify, that Nepal should build, and that Nepal should share to the world. So that is definitely there. But besides that we should not lose any opportunity that is there.
And what are the specific niche products that you are thinking about?
So cannabis related products. So there are certain kind of products that are very famous in the world, like in Amsterdam and other places.
What are those products?
So those are like Nepalese hash is quite famous in the world, and basically in the country still that market is flourishing. That market is always there. Now Nepal has tightened the security in the borders, so black market is going to be a struggle. But still, even in the tightest of the market, the industry has still flourished. We can look at South America, we can look at America, we can look at Mexico. The whole idea of the war on drugs boosted the industry tenfold times. So if basically they could just understand that they are losing the tax there, if they could just create a system. So at this time I think it is difficult for the government because there are different narratives. So we can see what happened with Venezuela. The idea that was created for this war on drugs that Venezuela was selling was one of the epicenter for drug trade. So because of this reason, they say they build that narrative in order to get the oil from there. So however, like, the industry is always there, and even if we think that it is not controlled, it is quite controlled internally, and it exists. A lot of part of Nepal, if you will go to the rural villages, so you will find that cannabis grows like potatoes, and people in their homes, they are selling these products as if they are selling chocolates. So how come that industry exists so openly? So if we can make it open but kind of control it, then the government can get a lot of tax, and this is what America, and this is what Canada, and this is what all these other nations are doing.
Okay. So if legalization happens, how do we protect local farmers from being pushed out?
Yeah, we need to have policies as such where the companies, if they are to build, they have to build with farmers. So we can do it in a cooperative model where there is a fair price, and the companies, they cannot come and exploit, otherwise there is going to be unfair competition. And the industry is about moving together. The industry is about collaboration, because until and unless we collaborate within our own grounds, in our own home, we cannot compete globally. And if we are going to pull our own legs, then we have to build a grave even for ourselves while we are building for others. So that's why we have to understand that the farmers are the main source. Without them, we would not have this industry. So until and unless they are motivated, until and unless they are respected, until and unless they are protected, the industry will never be safe.
So a cooperative model with the farmers to expand development of cannabis in Nepal would be the great idea.
Yeah. Even
Okay.
limited company, they can be given shares, some part of the shares, and ownership can be given to them. So that way they are going to feel that this is my company. And when they get the dividend of that profit, this is where the message of the plant is what we can hear. This is, I think, the ultimate goal. This is the ultimate teaching the plant is trying to teach us in order to align with nature, in order to help humanity.
For us to work together as a whole.
Definitely.
Perfect. All right. So is there a risk of foreign corporations taking over Nepal's hemp identity?
Definitely, they have stolen our genetics. We have been victims. They have been the pirates. Before, we used to look at these stories of strain hunters, and we used to see it like they are the heroes. But no, they are thieves. They are pirates. They went all around the world. They got all the genetics from all around the world, and then they built their own genetics, hybrid. So basically, we have to understand that. We have to protect that, because if we don't understand what value is what we need, then we are going to become a victim to this capitalism.
So basically, strain hunters and people alike came and exploited the genetics of Nepal, gave nothing back, and now the genetics have disintegrated?
No, the genetics are there, but I would not blame entirely them. It is also our own fault, because we have not been able to understand, we have not been able to act. So at least if we are never going to act on it, at least someone has capitalized the value on that. So we can be happy that at least the Nepalese value is shared with the world, because the Nepalese name is there, the Nepalese identity is there, the Nepalese brand is there, that the people have heard. So even that is our gain.
Gain, yeah, but the development isn't there directly. Indirectly, maybe reputation-wise, but directly to the people, not there yet.
No. So in order to have that, we need to also be open and create a ground for that.
Through legal or regulated channels.
Yes.
Very good. All right. Now, what's something people assume about the hemp industry that's completely wrong?
That money will grow on trees. Some people think that, some people say that if hemp is going to be legal, if cannabis is going to be legal, money is going to flood. We are all going to be rich, and we are all going to, thrive. It is not like that. It is an industry that we have to build. Yes, there was a time when that would happen. If the golden boat we could catch, then that would be a golden time for us. The country would prosper in a different level. It would be able to stand as a country that understands, listens, and deliver. So now the silver boat is there, so the opportunity is there, but it is going to be a lot of struggle.
Okay, so people think that opening up hemp in cannabis is going to bring so much money, but it won't, because the golden goose has already sailed, and now we're dealing with almost the scraps of what's left over for the international demand, right?
We can reach to the golden goose. We can follow up, we can chase with the scraps what we have, However, we have to show tremendous dedication, devotion, and discipline in order to get there. And we can basically use, because the golden goose, it was traveling and it had a lot of accidents. And what they thought as the golden goose, some they misinterpreted, and the goose was not golden for them.
Yeah.
But some they caught the golden goose. And if we can understand with the industry experts, and they can guide us, and if we can listen, understand, and follow, then we still have an opportunity to make it a golden goose opportunity.
So if we don't over-regulate or under-regulate, and we have that correct balance of development of cannabis in Nepal, then we can reach the golden goose, we can reach the high potential market, we can reach the prosperity that Nepal truly needs.
Definitely.
Very good, very good. Okay. Is it as easy as people think or far more complex?
It's far more complex. People think like there is this rainbow. Had you heard this story? The rainbow that brings in the golden
The pot of
pot.
gold? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. People think the story like this, but if they have to find the end of the rainbow, if they have to find where the end is, then that is going to be quite challenging for them. So there is this puzzle, and this is a complex puzzle. So with the right knowledge, with the right intention, with the right initiation, with the right effort, we can solve the puzzle.
Okay. Okay. Now let's go on to talk about the system of Nepal. What is actually stopping hemp progress in Nepal right now?
So right now it is still the policy, but for hemp, it is not stopping entirely. Definitely there are some roadblocks, and we are going to solve those roadblocks with the new government. We are hopeful. We believe that they will be able to understand. That's why we are investing right now. We are investing heavily in order to build this infrastructure, in order to build the industry, in order to build the value chain that the industry requires. But we are taking the heavy load, and we are asking nothing from the government. We just want the government not become a pain for us. We just want them to not disturb us. And when in 2018 we went all strong, we challenged the government. We had the farmers, we had the people with us who were willing to stand with us, who were willing to support us. And because of that effort that we made, today we have the industry. Today we have that value chain. Today we have this infrastructure. Today we have this product. Otherwise, no one could even think that this would be possible. There were people before us who even started working 15 years before us, 20 years before us, but they gave up. So the right time is necessary. We just were fortunate, we just were blessed that everything kind of linked up. We were there at the right time, and we have to move with the time.
Okay. Now, what particularly in the policy itself is holding the hemp back?
So it has to legalize. Right now it is not fully legalized. It is still criminalized. It is still regarded as a drug. If we go to the narcotics center, We talked with them, what they still regarded as illegal. They are destroying plants around the country that is farmed when they find it there. So they have to spend a lot of money to destroy this treasure that they have. So it is because of the policy. So once the policy changes, then the mindset also changes on a national level, because right now people still have this stigma. If we go and talk to the police, they understand what they still don't understand.
It might be because of their salaries they don't understand.
Salary wise also they're not that unhappy. Right now they're actually, I think they must be happy, because every day they get 201 rupees in order to eat.
Yeah.
So now with the new government they have changed it to 221.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're getting paid to enforce those laws of keeping cannabis criminal is why they probably don't understand.
Yeah.
They're the enforcers of those, those cannabis prohibitions.
Yeah,
That's
definitely. They have to follow that policy and destroy the value that is there.
Unfortunately. Is it a lack of awareness, policy fear, or deep political economic interest that's holding it back right now?
All of it. There is a lack of awareness, there is confusion as well, because the stigma has been too strongly embedded in them. They are not able to look outside the box, because their parents told them that, hey, like this is bad. So their teacher said that this is bad. So this has been bad for them. So another is, there is definitely like fear of policy, because before the government that was there, they did not have the guts to do it, because they thought that if they are going to do it, they are going to lose their vote. So political interests are also dispersed, because politics is a bunch of people moving together. And for that, what happened, like before KP Oli, he was the president, he still is the president, he was the prime minister then. So from all research level government organizations, we moved the policy, we lobbied, and when it went to him, then he was like, no way. Even in the parliament, it was announced that Nepal now is going to research in order to see the feasibility of medical cannabis. So we made that happen to reach it there, till there. But later, this guy, he said that cannabis, you think that you are going to legalize cannabis in your dreams. And he was one of the most powerful party president then, and he had the most seats, most votes. So after that, we became kind of frustrated. We became disheartened. So now we are again hopeful, because his government collapsed, his party has collapsed. It is one of the weakest party, and there are other parties that are there who are young and who are hungry. We hope. We hope.
Yeah. Okay. So this pressure, this policy pressure that's came to Nepal, how much of Nepal's current cannabis policy is influenced by international pressure?
No, it is all criminalized as part of war on drugs. The American government, the American propaganda, they did that. Before that, Nepal was the utopia for hemp and cannabis. Everything was legal. And now too, it is in a very challenging place. Geopolitically, it is in a very complex place. There is American interest, there is Chinese interest, there is Indian interest. So in order to manage all this, so Nepal before was in the FATW, gray list. So financially it is not very transparent. So similarly like that, with this cannabis, if it can also open doors, it can also close doors.
Okay. So do you think Nepal has the freedom to create its own path right now?
Yeah, it has the freedom. It has the intelligence. It has the intellect in order to understand and in order to drive the solution by understanding what is the best for them, what is the interest or internationally, locally, and if we can balance that, then Nepal can create a new way.
Okay. All right. So who stands to benefit the most if hemp gets legalized, and who loses?
The government
Will benefit.
The economy will grow. They will have more taxes, and global corporations, they can lose because Nepal can deliver a competitive product at a competitive price. In that case, we will take a share of their market. Now, in Thailand, the policy has changed. So, if Nepal can understand that, and if it can build that policy, then it has the opportunity. Right? Like in India, in Manali, in Kasol, in all these places, cannabis is legal. It is like legal. It is not out there in the market openly. They are not saying it openly, but if you go to a shop and like there would be people who would just sell you, like they sell mushrooms in Indonesia, in the Gili.
The underground black market, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's flourishing everywhere nowadays. So is there quiet money or influence shaping the future of this industry right now in Nepal already?
Not really.
Okay.
No quiet money is there, but before that quiet money could work, but the trust was not there because it needed a parliament decision, and quiet money after people take this quiet money, they become quiet and they don't do anything,
Yeah.
So in that case, basically the challenge was there. The influence is, I think, the international change, international result, international industry that is there. So that can be an influence for the new government that is there. But for the new government now, quiet money, it is difficult to work because even if a little smell of corruption is found with anyone, they are fired.
Yeah. So legal processes are necessary to shape the future of this industry here. No quiet money or black money, none of that stuff's going to work anymore.
No.
Especially due to the new government.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So if Nepal doesn't act soon, what's the worst case scenario?
Then Nepal is going to sit with the broken ship and sing its song, "We are great, Nepal." And yes, definitely we are great in a lot of aspects, but we could also be great in this regard, and we would have a missed opportunity, and that would be sad.
Could we lose ownership of our own plant?
Definitely, because we are currently spending money in order to destroy what is given by nature to us. What is our own inherited plant? Like coffee, it is not our native plant. It is come from somewhere else. Similarly, like that, dragon fruit has come from somewhere else. But hemp is given by our own nature to us. And if we cannot understand that, what kind of idiots would we be? That would be a special kind of idiot.
Yeah. Okay, so the big vision. If everything goes right, starting today, where do you see Nepal's hemp industry in 10 years from now?
I see a $1 billion industry. What the IT industry is there right now, it is a $1 billion industry. So Nepal has got an opportunity to build an industry like that. And today we take pride that from $400 million of industry, because of some shifts in policy where Nepalese companies can open companies outside of Nepal, and because of this the industry has become a $1 billion industry, and we are kind of happy about it because a lot of people, they are getting jobs, and they are also paying taxes to the government. So we will have that kind of industry.
Okay. Can Nepal become a world leader or just a supplier?
It can become a world leader because before, in the hippie movement era, Nepal was one of the places to expand its consciousness, and people from around the world, they came, they saw the purity, they saw the innocence in the hearts of Nepalese people, and they saw the openness of the Nepalese people. So once they saw it, that inspired them, that stayed with them, and they took that in the world and they shared that with the world. And when they became leaders of the world, they guided and they shared that empathy, that kindness, that humanity that they took from Nepal.
So Nepal has a very pure, open, and inspirational culture around cannabis that can transcend around the world.
Nepalese people are beautiful people. The country is beautiful. Sometimes I go to places, other countries, I feel I am in hell. But in Nepal, maybe like some people, they experience good, some people they experience bad. Not everyone they come and experience the best of Nepal. So some they hate Nepal as well. But still, what I find is that the humanity is still there, the innocence is still there. Nepal is still pure, Nepal is still pristine.
Yeah, Nepal has, it sounds to me like the Nepal has sort of been oppressed by international pressure for a long time, and now we're behind a lot of other countries like Canada, India, China, Uruguay, Israel, USA. All these countries are far ahead of Nepal, even though hemp is indigenous to Nepal. It grows naturally in Nepal, and it doesn't grow naturally in those other countries, but still they're ahead because their policies are aligned for their economic prosperity with cannabis.
No, definitely. Recently I heard a news, very sad news. One of my favorite person, he was also a dear friend to me. We used to talk at times, David Wilcock. So he was researching on extraterrestrial realities. So he died recently, and just before some time he seemed to be fine. But because he wanted to bring in some kind of opinions in the world, he was silenced. So similarly like that, Nepal once was considered to be one of the most peaceful country in the world. We literally, when we were in schools, we used to read that Nepal is one of the most peaceful country in the world. And this was when cannabis was legal, and Nepal stood for that peace. So later, what happened? We became a victim to this propaganda, to this new world order, and what they wanted is they wanted to destroy the peace. And they might think that they have destroyed the sacred kingdom, but they cannot destroy it. Like this kingdom is within our hearts, and it still lives. And even though some might be silenced, even though the policy might be silenced, the culture is still there. The truth is still there. So, however, it is now behind closed doors. Like, have you seen this movie Doctor Strange?
I've heard about it.
So you should definitely go and see. So the scientist, the doctor, he comes to Nepal and he gets his awakening, and then he finds a lot of things and goes back, and that is actually the reality of Nepal.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of hope in Nepal. People are ready. People want to work. The youth need opportunities. There's a new government now, and corruption is lower. People are talking about integrity. That's shaping Nepal around the world. So I think it's the perfect time as well. So if you had control for 1 full year in Nepal, what's the first thing you would do and fix
In Nepal?
in Nepal?
Not related with
Related with cannabis.
So I definitely make the policy. I'd make such a policy, like in a year I could get investments, I could get interest, I could build supply chains, I could build the whole industry in a year. So first I would start with policy, then I would start with training, then I would start with awareness campaigns around the country. However, because the right awareness is needed, because we still have our children, and we have to also protect them. So they don't understand what the right use is, and there are a lot of people who also don't understand this plant quite well. They just misuse this plant. So we have to be able to draw that thin line between use and abuse. But we have to understand that even these medicines, even the painkillers, that if we use too much, it has a side effect. However, alcohol kills more people than cannabis does. According to a research, even peanuts have killed more people than cannabis. So I would definitely make a policy first, and in a year I would push building this industry.
Can you tell us your perception of responsible cannabis use?
Well, what I have heard is people, like from experience, everyone has their own kind of experience. If someone is getting habituated to anything is not right, because then you become a slave to it. Even if you are habituated to coffee, it also has an effect. So if you are not habituated, if you take this plant, then I think the plant has to choose you. If you choose the plant, and if you don't understand the plant, I have seen many people, they have problems of psychosis and extreme abnormalities they have to go through in terms of their mental health. So with research, even though whatever we might hear, there has not been proof that cannabis has been able to ease the mental health. It has been able to have a significant impact It has not been proven. However, epilepsy, if someone has epilepsy, then it has a proven clinical trial where it has been able to help those patients. It has been able to help with people with cancer who go through their treatment. It helps them ease with vomiting, and it has also become one of a significant drivers in order to ease pain. And even opioids, if you would not have opiums and opioids, if you would not have these medicines, hard medicines that make us numb, then how would we conduct all these operations? So cannabis is a vast ocean. Within our body is the endocannabinoid system. So basically all these this is a structure where it transports different kind of hormones that are there. So the transporter that is there has a deep significance with the cannabis plant. So I am not expert in it, but still I have got a basic information. I might be wrong. However, we have to be careful with this plant. I have seen some people, they have got control, and they can have control over this plant, but according to use, what has been found is 30% of the people who use this become abusers.
यो हजुरसँग कन्ट्याक्ट भएर एकजना न्यू स्टुडेन्टको लागि आउनु भएको
भन्न त्यहीँ राख्न भने एकछिनमा आइहालेँ. एकछिन है त्यहीँ ल. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. You said how many percent become abusers?
30% of the people, they become abusers, and they become addicts to it, and they become less productive, and they have mental clog, and they don't have clarity as such. However, some people, they say that they have got tremendous effect. They can feel everything strongly. It helps them in their creative journey. So we, rather than trying to copy Snoop Dogg or Wiz Khalifa, we have to understand. But in order to understand, we have to experience. So if we don't experience cautiously, we can fall victim to it. So the intention is very important. So medically, it can be very helpful to you, and now there is science backing it.
Is it always beneficial, or does it depend entirely on the person?
It depends entirely on the person and also the community. So
how so?
How so is, suppose if you have got a group of friends who only like to smoke, then you are going to be the next person who is going to be smoking, and your relationship with them is just going to be driven by that smoke. If you are going to sit down with them, you cannot just have a normal relationship. Your relationship will be based on the use of cannabis. So if you can understand this, and next is that what kind of relationship you have with yourself. If you go to nature, you have to be able to experience nature without intoxicating yourself with anything. If you have a lazy, boring time with yourself, you have to be able to experience that boredom. And maybe you can have some hobbies that can engage you and that can upgrade you. But if you use this in order to improve your relation with yourself, you are going to degrade yourself. Because some people, they think that emotionally they have got a lot of pain, they have got a lot of problems, and when they experience this, they kind of forget about those pain. They have got some pressure, stress, and when they do this, either the pressure heightens, they go gaga and they go crazy, or they kind of become silent. But becoming silent, I have seen, like some of my friends, they think that they have been silent, but for that moment they have been silent, but they have not yet fully experienced that pain that is there. So they have just been running away from it. They have been running away from themselves through that experience outside. So that's why I had a friend who had an ayahuasca journey, and he went to South America, Costa Rica, one of the most famous centers, and for him it was an experience, it was an exploration, and it had taken years for him to build that discipline within himself. But once he went and experienced that, he had a mind-boggling experience. But later it destroyed his character. The discipline that was built through everyday ordinary action, that was kind of missing in him. So when he came, then I saw that he had headaches, he had all these different problems. So it definitely depends person to person.
Okay, so is cannabis more helpful or harmful?
Both. It depends how if you are using it or if you are abusing it, what your intention is.
So what education is missing in cannabis culture now?
Education has been very cluttered. Self-education is missing. Because we cannot know the taste. So do you know this biscuit called Parle-G?
Yeah,
You know, right?
I like it.
Because you like it, right? Because we have been kind of common culture, but we understand, what this Parle-G is.
Yeah.
But people in the West, they might have never tasted this Parle-G. So if they have never tasted this Parle-G, they will never know. So until and unless you have your own self-knowledge, you have your own experience, if you talk, you are an idiot. So, however, like you can definitely be wise, you can listen to hundreds of experiences, and you can take in from their experience, and with openness, you can evaluate everything critically. So that is basically what a wise man does, rather than building impression and building knowledge based on prejudice.
Absolutely, yes. That's great. And what would you like to ask the people to put in the comments?
So whatever you feel like, you can basically you can tag our government, you can tag Mr. Barren, the Prime Minister, in the comment box. You can tag Rasopa Party, you can tag Rabi Lamichhane, and you can ask them to legalize it, to wake up and see what is happening out there in the world, and let's catch the golden goose.
Yeah, perfect. So let us know what you like about the interview today, who you want to see next, and how many likes would you like to have this video for you to come back for a second interview?
Well, let's see. If you, yeah. So
if there's demand, if there's
if there
likes.
is demand, yeah, I would definitely come back. So as many likes as possible, flood them. We are dying for your likes.
Yeah, we started doing it in English now because of your likes. So come on, let us know what you want to see, what you want to hear, who you want to see next, what you want to talk about, anything related to cannabis, freedom, openness, collaboration, Nepal, other countries. Hey, if you want to be involved, come on. You can talk to Mr. Pratik Karki. You know, we can do video calls if there's anyone interested. Anything what he's talking about, anybody wants to collaborate, come on. You're more than welcome to.
We're ready for you.
All right, thank you so much. Have a nice day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Okay, man.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you.
That was